Dear veterans, dear soldiers, those who are here in Canada and abroad serving in missions, dear friends, today is one of the most significant days of the year, Remembrance Day. Starting from 1919, every year at 11 o'clock, we pay homage to those who paid the highest price for our happy and free lives. All of them are heroes, and each and every one of them must be remembered. Look at the numbers on the screen. These numbers must be ingrained in our hearts. Every line contains only 2 numbers, but how much blood, how many ruined lives and deaths do they contain? We don't have any moral right to forget the deed of our compatriots, lest we forget. N'oublions jamais. The symbol of this day is a poppy flower. Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae, a Canadian doctor during the First World War, wrote the poem in Flanders Fields. The scarlet poppy quickly became the symbol for soldiers who died in battle. 3 years later, Georgia University professor Moina Michael, inspired by John McCrae, wrote a poem called "We Shall Keep the Faith." She vowed to always wear a red poppy as a symbol of remembrance for those who served in the war and promoted the idea to others. There are wonderful words in her poem. We cherish too the poppy red that grows on fields where valor led. It seems to signal to the skies that blood of heroes never dies, but lends a luster to the red of the flower that blooms above the dead in Flanders Fields. And now the torch and poppy red we wear in honor of our dead. By wearing our poppies close to our hearts, we give new life to our heroes' past. Thanks to the millions of Canadians who proudly wear their poppies each November. The little red flower and the significance it holds has never died. By purchasing a poppy, you are supporting the local legions who support our veterans. Lest we forget, n'oublions jamais. Every year, as Canadians, we bow our heads in honor of the men and women who served and continue to serve our country here and abroad. We honor the memory of those who died, soldiers and civilians, during World War I, World War II, the Korean War, the Gulf War, in Afghanistan, and all Canadian Armed Forces military missions. So many have sacrificed their lives for the peace and freedom we enjoy today. Our Canadian soldiers may not have been superheroes in the way that we know them from the movies, but rather they were real superheroes. Our military brings together Canadians with different beliefs, religions, and cultural backgrounds, who together fight for peace and freedom around the world. Many of them are buried abroad in France, Belgium, Netherlands, Germany, Italy, connected through their service in their final resting place. Many of us have visited the National War Memorial in Ottawa. If you haven't, you should. It was originally built to honor fallen soldiers in World War I. At the time, people thought that after such a bloody, bitter, and cruel war, after so many lost lives, there will never be another war. It was known as the war to end all wars. However, after a short little while, the Second World War started, and many more followed. The memorial was reconstructed and rededicated to include the dates of the Second World War, the Korean War, and later the South African War and the mission in Afghanistan. The words "In service to Canada," "Au service du Canada," were inscribed at the front and back of the memorial. Surmounting this immense granite arch are bronze figures, which represent peace and freedom. These are our main values, and these are the values for which our soldiers died. Lest we forget, n'oublions jamais. Peace is more fragile than a crystal ball. Unfortunately, mankind has accumulated exceptionally destructive weapons, and collectively, we have begun to destroy our planet completely. The Doomsday Clock is a symbol that represents how close we are to destroying the world with dangerous technologies of our own making. It warns how many metaphorical minutes to midnight humanity has left. In the 75-year history of the clock, we have never been as close to midnight as we are today. We must do everything possible to preserve the peace and ensure that we pass the planet on to our children the way we inherited it. On this day of reflection and gratitude, I would like to call on each of us to say, remember. Remember the crematoria and gas chambers of Auschwitz. Remember Majdanek, Belzec, Sobibor, Treblinka, and others. Remember the long line of destroyed cities and the immeasurable loss of human life and the shattering effect war has on families and communities. War brings mass starvation, destruction, and death. Remember that and preserve the peace.
Talk of trouble is sent through the country, and we need an army to fight for the right. Young men enlist and are sent to the battle to fight the offender and help our allies. And the young men cry, "Oh Canada, we'll gladly go and fight for thee." And the young men cry, "Oh Canada, we'll fight to keep you free." The battle's raging, gunfire is blazing. A tired young soldier is clinging to life. He's ordered on and obeys by advancing. No hope of returning from the enemy fire. And the soldier cries, "Oh Canada, if it must be so, I'll die for thee." And the soldier cries, "Oh Canada, I'll die to keep you free." And we all miss, oh Canada, the land where we all used to be. And we all long for Canada, the true north, strong and free.
The soldier cries, "Oh Canada, if it must be so, I'll die for thee."
And the soldier cries, "Oh Canada, I'll die to keep you free." Far away we have seen a great danger, and yet there's a danger much greater within. The noise we make as we constantly bicker would hush not a whisper if we listen to hear.
All the thousands cry, "Oh Canada, is that why we have died for thee?" And the soldiers cry, "Oh Canada, we died to keep you free."
And the soldier cries, "Oh Canada, be true and strong for me."